Oh, this is normal and how an entrepreneur thinks. There's at 9 o'clock, you may be flying high. At 9:05, you've gone straight to hell in a handbasket. At 9:10, you're back up again. That's the life of the entrepreneurs.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
I agree 100%. I teach communication skills all over the world, and I can tell you that exactly these little things that you are sharing with us, like tonality, how to use the tone, how you pose, how you trying to what we call it mix and match, right? So on the other side of the phone, you have someone very energetic. You do need to try to to mix to mirror that person, and at the same time, if you have someone more calm, is a skill. The more you practice, the better you become. We're not going to say that it's extremely difficult, because it's not, but it does require practice, and requires commitment. The other thing there is, which is very important, is what you just described. You know that if they don't buy from you, they're gonna buy from someone that is not gonna look after them better than you.
That's
You
right.
know that. You know that. And if you take in the call with that intention, you really believe that your product can change and solve the problem for that client, you're gonna embrace the phone call with everything you got, because this is how we see it in our business. We know we know that when somebody buys the product or service from us, we know that there is no way that they can find something out there that's gonna look after them better than us. We do know that for a fact. So we have to embrace the conversation with this client in order to articulate effectively the value and fight for it. Fight for it, not for us, for the client,
That's
because we
right. I
know
like that.
we know the massive difference that we can make to their life. On the other hand, Derry, I want to congratulate you because wow, what a role model for the kids. Um, I think in this broadcast, if you look back over the 500 millionaires that we have interviews, we see that really 90% of them is maybe like you and me. I went to, my parents are teachers, so the whole narrative in my house was you go to school, you go to university, you find a job, and that's it. So I did to spend 5 years of university. I gave the diploma to my mom and dad. They're very happy. I never used it again in my life. Made them very happy. I
I
waste
know.
5 years to make them happy, but anyway, that this is how. But I have been facing this challenge, and you and your kids also, when you open the conversation about nobody understand you. So when I started my first business, I remember when I was with my friends, and then everybody was talking. I'm chatting with everybody, we are laughing, and then I it was my time to talk, and I said, "Look, I started this business. I have in this property business. I have these clients. This is what I'm doing," and nobody cares.
Right,
They
right.
couldn't care less. And so then I'm thinking, wow, that's going to be interesting. I'm about to lose all my friends. So it was a very lonely journey because I didn't even know that there were, you see, more entrepreneurs. There is no entrepreneurial background in my family. And so I had to kind of discover everything by myself. My grandfather was an entrepreneur, but he died when I was very young, so I couldn't really talk to him. Yeah, but then this sense of loneliness, this sense of nobody understands me, because then you're gonna talk to. I remember my mom when I said, "Mom, I'm gonna expand." My mom, it was like, "Don't expand. I don't want to hear expansion. Don't do that. Leave it as it is enough. That's what I was hearing with my mom. She doesn't know what is a business. She doesn't know what expansion means. She doesn't know anything, but because they're trying to protect you. On the other
Right.
hand, I think
Right.
regardless the political views that anyone can have, I think that the son of Donald Trump's or that family is growing up in different contexts. The conversation in this family all the time is clients, tax, customer service, new products, how to generate income, how to pay the employees, how many employees we're gonna have. So that's the conversation that you hear in in this family, right? Which is pretty much kind of the conversation that your kids are listening you as a role model, seeing you grow your business. This is what they are a reflection of you. They become now they want to make you proud, and the only way to make you proud is to be a good entrepreneur, right? And I'm so glad that they did took the path because it will change their life. They're gonna have about to experience a life that very few people can experience just because of having that mechanism. Because at the end of the day, they can amplify as much as they want. If they want to make multi-millions, they want to make this. But number one, they have the freedom to choose, and now that fear that is out there, facing the client or facing rejection, they have at home a role model that can tell them, "Look, I understand you, and it's okay." So, how uh, do you think that and four of them, all of them decide to be an entrepreneur? That's very impressive. So, what do you think in the way that you see business and the relationship with your family? Something happened there that inspired them, all of them, to become an entrepreneur. What do you think it was?
Well, it's interesting, Harry. I had an aha moment a couple years ago, and this was at the peak of COVID. All of our kids came back home. We're having dinner around the table, and we do a thing as a family that often families do called highs and lows. We'll go around, and each person says, "Here's my high of the day and my low of the day." And I had this realization that my explanation of what I was doing during the day was pretty boring and non-attention
Nobody
getting.
cares, no.
Nobody cares. And I said, I need to kind of change this. And so I had placed an investment in something recently and lost a couple $1,000s. And I thought, I'm gonna share that with the kids. And so I talked about my day and I said, hey, by the way, guys, dad lost a lot of money today. And you could have heard a pin drop. They're like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so good. Dad finally screwed up. We can't wait to hear this.
They were, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I shared with them a couple, here's what happened. I lost a couple $1,000s. And what I realized was this whole time I had been acting like I need to be the perfect parent to teach my kids the perfect lessons. And what I realized was I was becoming unrelatable. And my kids were thinking, if I don't share these mistakes with them, I realized they're going to grow up and make the same mistakes and they're going to think the problem is with them. And what I realized was instead of kind of lecturing my kids on, hey, here's this great business idea or here's this business wisdom, I would share with them, hey, can I tell you guys about a mistake I made? Suddenly they love to listen to mistakes that mom or dad make. And that became my tool for educating my kids. So for example, as opposed to sitting my son down on the couch and saying, hey, let me share this lesson with you, I'd say, hey, let's go to Whataburger and listen to your favorite playlist. And while we're not even looking at each other in eye contact, we're just talking straight ahead, ideas come out. They're like, now, Dad, you said you lost some money. How did you do that? Or tell me about your business. And so these intentionally unintentional lesson-based conversations were the key. And what I realized, the more vulnerable I was as a parent, the more I could tell them, hey, here's a mistake I made. If I could redo this, then they're interested in the business because they see you doing the hustle. I realized that more is caught than taught. They saw me doing the business. They saw my reputation being built in the community. They saw the highs and lows. But to hear me talk about the mistakes, it just made them feel normal, like, oh, this is normal and how an entrepreneur thinks. There's at 9 o'clock, you may be flying high. At 9:05, you've gone straight to hell in a handbasket. At 9:10, you're back up again. That's the life of the entrepreneur. So once my kids knew that and I connected with them and said, I don't have to be perfect, that changed everything for me. And I think it made it more palatable to be like, oh my gosh, dad is normal just like us. And that was my goal.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.